So if there's anyone listening that doesn't know who you are, do you want to just give yourself a brief introduction?
Um, yeah, my name is Sean Hegarty. I'm a serial killer. I've killed 14 women, 3 men to date, all members of my immediate family.
And that's
Uh,
why I've got you on.
that's why I've got on. Yeah, just talk about murder and stuff. I think you texted me, you were looking to murder someone in your family, and you pretty much just wanted a bit of an insight and a few tips on how to do it. But I can keep you right in terms of that. I have a lot of contacts and a lot of weapons at my disposal. So
That's
the rest is up to
fantastic.
you. Yeah.
That's that's fantastic. No, I wasn't expecting like a confession so early on, if I'm honest. Like,
But you know what? I've done the time, so I'm remorseful now. So I'm feeling good about it all. And most of them wanted to die anyway, so it's no big deal.
that's you're doing a good deed. That's what you're doing. Like,
That's it. Yeah. I'm a one-liner comedian, and I provide free comedy content for the internet. Let's just say that. Yeah,
that pretty much sums it up. And how
pretty
long you've
much.
been performing for a good while now? So what? How long ago was your first gig? If we
I
can
would
take it back,
say probably going on 13, 14 years now, I think,
right?
which seems like quite a long time, but also seems like hardly any time at all.
Yeah,
And I see all the older lads on the circuit, and I'm like, "Oh, I just want to be like 50 or 60 years of age." And people are like, "There's your guy that's been doing it for 30, 40 years." But then I want almost like that respect and that sort of old age kind of just that swagger of just, yeah, I've been doing it a long time. But also I get one like open mic comedians contacting me going, any tips? And I'm like, oh fuck's sake, I have to spend a bit of time here and try and but
yeah,
I know how it is at the same time, because when I was first starting out, all I wanted was just tips. Do you know what I mean? Everything
yeah.
everything was just, who can I contact here and who can I ask for advice? So you have to kind of put yourself in their shoes and remember at one stage you were an open micer as well, and just
Does
kind
it
of
does it annoy you a little bit that some of the younger guys are so good at the minute?
Are they good? I don't know. I
There's
haven't
definitely
really, I haven't seen much open mic sort of comedy recently, to be honest. And
no.
I'm
There's
kind of,
some of the younger ones are very good.
really, I'm one of those comedians that just, I'm like, how much are you paying me, and how soon after my set can you pay me so I can go home? And that's that. I've been really, really neglectful of the local scene and the other comedians in it, and for that I apologize. But I just, my family has always been my immediate kind of concern, and it's been like,
Well, that's it. You're not the sort of comedian who's going out to get drunk. You're going out to
not at
perform
all.
and come home.
Yeah, that's it. It's a job to me. Do you know what I mean? Whereas a lot of comedians, I think, find that it's a bit of a lifestyle, and
Yeah.
they can sort of connect with other comedians and sort of riff off each other and have a laugh. And I know a lot of comedians kind of work best that way, and they can just have drinks together, and
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, I'm claiming this material," and they tell a story and they try and mold a kind of a bit of a routine around that and stuff. And
Yeah.
um, I'm just more of a, let's just learn these jokes that you've written and get on stage and tell them one at a time.
Well, that's it. I don't know if I don't know if I've ever told you, but it was you who pretty much inspired me to start doing one-liners.
Oh, that's lovely. That's good. And how's it going so far for you?
I'm enjoying it. Like, so whenever I took a really long break, like 5 or 6 years, I think it was, from whenever I first started. So I started like in 2012, I think it was, and then
Right.
did it sort of sporadically. And back then as well, there was very few gigs. I think, as you know yourself, people were kind of having to start gigs, like start nights, just to try and get time on stage. So
Yeah.
it was kind of a tough time. So I was because I was doing it so sporadically, I was started to lose a bit of interest and just lose my nerve a wee bit, because I could never build up momentum, because you'd maybe be doing one gig and then it could be 3 4 weeks before you get another gig. So it was kind of difficult. And then
Yeah.
I think I was chatting to you years and years ago, and I kind of thought to myself, maybe I should try and do some one-liners and see how it goes. And did my first one-liner gig like years ago, and it went well. And since I came back in 2019, that's all I've been doing. I've been enjoying it. So I'm trying
Brilliant.
to start off a gig tomorrow
Yeah.
night.
Oh, brilliant. Excellent. Where's that?
The Hatfield. I'm just doing like the open spot.
Class. Oh, that's good. That's good. No, it's good to see you're still doing it and going strong. It's hard, like especially in this country or this part of the country or whatever the fuck people call it. Am I
Yeah.
okay swearing, by the way?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it. Whatever. As much as you want.
Oh, lovely. So it's hard trying to build up momentum doing gigs over here because you need just to constantly be gigging, and that's how
Yeah.
everyone gets better, and that's where the English lads and the Americans and people like that have the one up on us because they
Yeah.
have that opportunity to just go around the country gigging all the time, whereas we don't have that benefit. So we don't have the joy of doing that. So we kind of have to. I think we're kicked in the balls twice, where we don't have that many gigs, and the gigs that we have can sometimes be to the same people. So you could be gigging in the
Yeah.
one, like you could have 10 gigs in a year, but 3 of them or 4 of them could be in the same venue. So
Yeah.
we're doing our shows, 1 hour long shows after a year or two. And the English lads and the Americans and stuff are like concentrating on the first 5 years of stand up doing just a solid 5 minutes, and they're just working that to perfection night after night, whereas
Yeah.
we don't have that luxury, unfortunately. So whether or not that makes us better or makes us not better as in just better than everyone, I mean just whether that makes us better comedians in the long run or
Yeah.
what, I just don't know. But it's
something though, in
it's
my
hard.
experience anyway, you do have to, like, it could take maybe 5 or 6 times if you're doing a particular joke on stage before it's perfected. As I'm sure, like, similar to myself, like, your jokes are very well crafted in terms of, like, literally every word matters.
They have to, yeah, I think they have to, and I think that comes down to a mixture of knowing the other one-liners on the circuit and knowing how good they are and how amazingly crafted their sets are. And also that when I first started doing stand-up, I just had no confidence whatsoever. So I just needed a laugh as soon as physically possible. I couldn't hang on for 5 minutes for a punchline or to
Yeah.
work my way up to something. I was like, I need to hit them with something within the first few seconds so that I can just ease my nerves and just relax a little bit.
Yeah, no, that was one of the reasons as well why I got into doing them, because I was kind of doing longer bits at the start whenever I first started, and if they didn't land, you're like, that's maybe a 2 minute bit, which is a long time whenever you're doing a 5 minute set.
Yeah.
And if the 2 minute bit doesn't work, then you've nothing to fall back on. So I was like, I'll do maybe 20, 30, 40 jokes in a set. And even if one or two don't land, you don't really care.
That's it, because the next one's coming along in 5 or
Yeah.
10 seconds. Do you know what I mean?
It's on
That's
your,
the
yeah.
best thing about it. And I remember watching the likes of like Last Comic Standing and stuff like years ago when I used to just fucking scour the web for any
Yeah.
kind of comedy to watch.
Mm.
And I remember, I think in one of the episodes they went to Vegas or somewhere, or they were trying out to see if they could have like a Vegas show. And they were in a comedy club, and the person who is like the booker was standing at the back of the room just clicking every time the audience laughed to see who
Right.
generated the most laughter. And I think that kind of touched a nerve with me or resonated with me in some shape or form, where I was like, oh, that's very interesting, you know,
Yeah.
seeing how many laughs you can get in a certain amount of time, you know, because that depended on how many bookings they got or if they got paid gigs and things like that. So
Right. Okay. That's interesting.
kinda,
I've never
yeah,
heard of that. It's not something it's always makes sense though. Like, if people are laughing, then
exactly,
yeah. That's what you're there. It's what you're there to do. So if you're
exactly, yeah. I
the
think
more you're
nowadays
getting,
this was probably 10 years ago. I'd say nowadays it's more like, how's your podcast doing? How many
yeah,
followers do you have online? Do you know, what's your social media presence like? And it's kind of just changed direction a little bit, I think.
it's definitely has changed over the years, because I know you more as Sean Hegarty, comedian, whereas in more recent times, obviously with not being able to do gigs. Yeah, I didn't even say that.
Didn't know.
Fantastic. Anyone who's only listened to the podcast, Sean is drinking a mug saying Sean Hegarty, comedian.
Yeah, this is when I got made myself before my merchandise guy got on board. So I have like Sean Hegarty, comedian on one side, and then score a few goals, sniff a few holes, Stacky the Gaffer on the other side.
Fantastic. That's actually
So
that's a very good segue, because that's exactly what I was going to move on to. So you, in more recent years, you've went from still doing comedy, still doing stand up, but you've moved on to the characters.
yeah, I just, from seeing other people around the world, I know how many doors that can open for you, and I know how many sort of fans that can generate for you, and it just brings a whole new audience to your comedy. So I just kind of wanted to do that in a way where I remember one day I did a gig, and I think I prepared for about 3 weeks for this gig, and I did 15 minutes. And then I put a video out, and it was seen by like 30,000 people in a day.
Right.
And I was like, what am I doing here? I'm spending 3 weeks working on this here set that 50 people are going to see. Whereas I maybe spent 5 or 10 minutes making a video, posted it online, and just thousands upon thousands of people are watching it. And I was like, what is going on here? Do you know what I mean? And I know promoters, and I know people nowadays, like in TV and everything, they look at your social media presence to see how you're doing. And even in the acting world, I think as well, that they've started going down more the social media route, because
Right. Okay.
with actors and actresses and stuff, it's more like they like a lot of TV shows and a lot of movies would go to take people on who maybe didn't have a big name or whatever.
Right.
And
Yeah.
sort of, the likes of Harry Potter and stuff, where nobody was really known back then, or
Yeah.
the core cast weren't.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
look at them now, whereas they wanted to nurture talent, they wanted to bring people through, they wanted
Yeah.
nobodies. Whereas nowadays, it's like everything is down to views and social media presence and things like that. So I think every sort of casting director now, and every director and producer is like, who can we get on board here who has millions of views? That's why all these
Yeah.
TikTokers are now doing boxing matches, and
Oh, that's
YouTubers and stuff, and it's just
mad
one
how
big popularity contest.
It is, and it's mad. I think, as you sort of touched on there briefly, but it's mad just how quickly nowadays you can generate a following or generate like tens of thousands of views.
Yeah, and you
Like-
see all these TikTokers as well. Sorry to cut you off there.
No,
Do you
you're
want
right.
to finish your bit?
Oh, I have no idea what I was going to say. Go
Are
for it.
Are you drunk as well? Are you drunk?
Possibly.
Yeah, I see all these TikTokers, and I kind of feel like what TikTok is now is like one person makes this piece of content, and then 50,000 people just rip it off and just use the audio of it and lip sync it, and they become famous off the back of it. And you're like, what hope does anyone have in today's world of doing anything of any importance? Even you look at Love Island, and you see just people who just spend a year in the gym and then whiten their teeth, and next thing they go on Love Island, and they meet someone, and they generate millions of followers and get millions of pounds off the back of it.
Yeah, you just come out and start selling fake tan for the rest of your life.
Exactly. Yeah, veneers and fucking all kinds, and you're like, what hope do any of us with any kind of talent, no matter how small or big, have?
Yeah.
If this is the way the world is going.
Did it surprise you? Because I know whenever you first started doing the Rodney character, like that seemed to take off very quickly. Like, did it surprise you at all?
People think it took off quickly, but it was a bit of a builder for me. I basically put the first video out one time. Just I walked around my house for a few hours, just trying on different clothes and trying different accents and hairstyles and things like that. And then I landed on this character where he was just like a country kind of simpleton who got the wrong end of the stick all the time, which worked perfectly for puns and jokes, which I told on stage.
Yeah.
So once I had a video, people were like, "Oh, this was good. That was good. This was good. I like this part. I liked what you did with your voice when you got excited and you went all, I'm doing scrimmage, Rodney, went up into like a real high pitch and things like that." So I pretty much just took on board all the comments under the video. And the next time I made a video, I tagged all the people who had tagged their mates, and I kind of just built it like that, almost like a small business. And I got to the point where I had a whole like maybe 4 or 5 pages of names of people who I was tagging under every video, and I thought I should just make a page here and just invite all these people to like the page.
So it's almost like a mailing list kind of thing, where you were just
pretty much Kevin Hart-esque, but without the millions and millions of dollars. Do you know what I mean? With nothing more than likes and shares.
Yeah, it's a very smart way of doing it, though. I didn't realize that's how it kind of took off.
It was either very smart or very stupid of me not to just start a page from the first video. But then it was after a while, it was like, I think I did a couple of different videos, and that one kind of hit home the most with people. And I just went on from there then, and it just slowly started building it. And then I had a few other ideas, and I was like, will I incorporate these into a different character? And I thought, you know what, this character's doing well. People seem to be enjoying it. So I just kept doing things like that, and it just kind
Yeah.
of went on from there. But basically, just got to the point where I was doing weddings and stuff, and I was showing up to the wedding, and everyone was in a three-piece suit, looking like yourself, and I was showing up in fucking Sports Direct tracksuit bottoms and a £5 Burton's t-shirt. And I just got to the point where I was like, there has to be more to my life. It was like,
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I bowed out on top in a way, but I also didn't bow out at all, because it's not like I'm never going to do the character again. You know, it's just
Yeah.
kind of as I'm weighing. And I've had a few ideas recently, but I think just with the Decky the Gaffer stuff that's been going very well, I've just
Oh
kind
yeah.
of ridden that wave, along with trying to just stay busy in other sort of avenues as well.
Is that like whenever you said you were doing weddings and things, would you have turned up just in character the whole time?
I would show up. I would hide from every single person in the wedding party.
Right.
I would get someone in the hotel to put me in a disabled toilet. I would get ready with my suitcase and my jokes and go over my material and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I would just sort of peek out behind the door or call a phone number from the toilet and go, "You booked me for this gig. I've arrived. When do you want me to come out, or what do you want me to do?"
Yeah.
And sometimes you're standing there for 2 hours because everything has
Oh,
overran.
serious? Jeez.
And they're like, you get an email saying, "We're going to put you on before the dinner." And then they're like, somebody comes over and he's half pissed and he's just like, "Hereby, everybody's fucking started eating, so we'll get you on after the dinner." And you're just standing around waiting in tracksuit bottoms going, "Somebody kill me, this is dog shit."
It's not what you want to be doing, especially as
Not a
someone
bit.
who just likes to go and perform and then come home.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Fucking social anxiety to the maximum.
That's crazy.
And half the audience had no idea who you were. The groom loved you, and
Yeah.
everyone else was just like, "There's the guy from Facebook."
Oh yeah. Like what's going on?
So
What's going on here?
yeah. So
That's insane.
it's kind of weird and stuff, but at the same time too, I have a lot of sort of good memories, and
Yeah. Okay. I'm sure.
kept me on my toes, to say the least.
Yeah. So touching on that, you're sort of, I know you sort of touched on social anxiety. That's something I think we all probably feel from time to time. So the podcast is one part comedy, one part mental health. So how has the last year been for you? Would you say, like, what has kept you sane?
I'll be honest with you, I've been in a very dark place recently. I got a job developing photographs. Hey, it's do you know
Sean Hegarty,
what?
ladies and gentlemen, Sean Hegarty.
Thank you very much. Announcing a new solo show in the next few weeks. To be honest, Johnny, it's been up and down. It's been a full blown roller coaster, and like the roller coaster in Barry's, it's been fucking closed most of the past year or two.
Yeah.
So it's been hard, but at the same time, I don't know. I kind of feel like when I knew everything, like when the shit was about to hit the fan and I started losing work, and Diona, my wife, who's an actress and a comedian, she started losing work as well.
Yeah.
We just thought this, like we watched the news just religiously for days and weeks, and in the build up to the pandemic, and we just thought, you know what, this is getting really, really serious. We took our kids out of school, and we just kind of locked the front door and just watched Netflix and had a laugh together and had drinks and things like that, and just kind of then everything sort of hit the fan and everyone went into full lockdown. And at the start I was like, there's two ways of coming out of this. I'm going to come out of this either 5 stone heavier and not funny, or I need to just do something with my life. So I focused on fitness for about 5 or 6 months. I ran loads of marathons and just focused on just anything in particular. And the thing I chose was running, because Craigavon Lakes was on my doorstep,
Right.
and it was just handy to just sort of run the lakes all the time. So I did that and got little bits of work from like social media videos and from writing something for a theatre company, and just scraps here and there. But at the same time, it was really hard because you didn't know when it was going to end. You didn't know what was going on. You didn't know if somebody in your family was going to catch COVID. You didn't know. You just didn't know one day to the next. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you
And I
guys were
think it got to the point
pretty
there
busy
once
before.
things started. Yeah, the two of us were very busy. Diona was really hitting strides just with her stand up, and She was getting TV show after TV show and stuff, and loads of offers. So things were going quite well for both of us. And then the pandemic hit, and I think my only regret is maybe not focusing on social media the way I have done since like post-pandemic almost.
Yeah.
That's probably my one regret, because I should have maybe put my time into that a little bit more. But at the same time, I just wanted to focus on one, my family still being there at the other side, and our mental health. So we just kind of had our struggling days. We had our days where we just didn't want to speak to anybody, but we got through it, and we're all still here, and we're delighted. Like, so how did you find it?
I was quite similar, kind of had ups and downs. So I was like, comedy isn't my career. It is more of a hobby for me.
Yeah.
But I was living at home as well at the time, so I've since moved out. But it was one of those things where days would just like run into each other, because at the start you couldn't really see an end as such. I remember there was one time, I think I might have mentioned on the podcast, one of the very early ones, but I remember at one stage, so I was living with my parents, and I would do their groceries for them once a week, and that was literally the only time I left the house, to go down to Tesco, pick up the groceries. And I realized at one stage as well that I literally had not left the house even to go for a walk in a week. I was like, I need to do something about this, because you can feel your head just going. When I think, as you mentioned before, like, fitness is such a big one. It's the one thing that kind of really gets my head in a better place. If I'm struggling at all, like either doing a workout or going for a run, or even sometimes just going for a walk, like, there's nothing like it to clear the head.
Yeah.
But if we take it back to comedy though, and mental health, would you say performing has a positive impact on you, or would you say there's some negative impacts as well?
I really don't know. I think it's 50-50. A lot of the time. I feel like there's times where you do a gig and you're absolutely buzzing afterwards, and you come home and you open your front door and you're like, stand ovation, and just nobody cares. Your kids are walking past you playing a game,
I'm like,
and
all right.
your wife's like, oh, you're home and fucking covered in baby vomit. Nice to see you just fucking going having the crack there just for an hour or two. But I don't know. It is hard, but at the same time, it can be so rewarding too. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like as well, the rewards can also be quite short-lived, in terms of, you're on stage, everyone thinks you're a god, you're hilarious, you're getting laughs, you're getting huge claps and laughter breaks and things like that. And then you come off the stage and you just get back in your car and you just pop the radio on and you're just back to being you again. Just
well, that's it.
Your way home, wondering what cereal you're going to have for your supper. Do you know what I mean?
It is almost like a drug though, and I think that's why a lot of us do it, because when you're on stage and you're getting laughs, like, there's no better, for me anyway, there's no better feeling. And if you've had a good gig and you come off stage, you are still buzzing, but it's not something that's going to last for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, for me anyway, it's very sort of short-lived. Like, maybe if I've had a good gig and I'm hanging out with people afterwards, sort of for like an hour or two afterwards, you're still on a bit of a high, but then all of a sudden it's like, right, well, we're back now. We need to get on to the next one. Yeah. And for me anyway, I've mentioned it before, but my anxiety is ridiculous when it comes to gigs. Like, I only found out yesterday that I'm doing this gig tomorrow night, and like, I haven't performed in 10 months.
Yeah.
And it's just terrifying for me. Like.
Yeah, I was the same. I did a Zoom gig there. I did one about 2 months into lockdown, and I hated it. I was like, this is awful. Yeah. There's dogs barking in the background. People are shouting at their children. The dishwasher's going off somewhere. People's screens are lighting up, and it's just, it was horrific. And after that, I contacted my agent and I was like, please don't give me any Zoom gigs. I'm all right for the foreseeable. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about my finances. Just get other people work and I'll chat to you soon. And I did my first Zoom gig the night before last night, and I was dreading it the entire week, like absolutely dreading it. I'd post-it notes all around my desk. I had just props everywhere and things that sort of give me ideas of like, right, if you lose your place, look over here and there'll be a joke written here. Or I
Right.
have my whiteboard behind me with like 150 jokes on it, just in
Right.
case. And I was kind of like just preparing for myself to fail. But the gig went brilliantly, and I really enjoyed it, and I loved it, and I loved. It felt like I was back on stage again, but I was in the comfort and security of my own office here, and I could just, look around me, and all my jokes were scattered everywhere, and it was just so much more relaxing than being on stage and facing an audience. And you go back and look at your page, you're a little bit amateur, or you look at your hand and there's jokes all over it, and you're like, I need to learn this fucking material.
That's what
But
I did. I did the exact same for my. I did a Zoom gig like last year, and I did the exact same thing. I literally just had. I used a laptop and just had post-it notes just stuck at the top of the laptop.
you have to, especially like ourselves doing one-liners.
Oh
It's
yeah.
I find it almost impossible to learn jokes. Like
Oh, it's so hard.
I, I would rather learn a joke like word for word in the entire sentence than learn 20 jokes in a row. Because if I'm telling a joke, I don't want to stumble. I don't want to get it wrong. Whereas I would rather mess about with the audience for 5 minutes while I remember the next joke than actually mess up a joke, because that's what people are going to tell in work the next day. Do you know what I mean? That's what
Yeah.
people are going to post on social media and claim it's their own. So you kind of have to make sure you get that 100% right every time, I
Yeah.
think.
And how have you dealt with like bad gigs in the past? Because I know everyone has a bad gig story, but has there ever been a time where you've been like, right, well, this is so bad that I might just throw the towel in?
I'm not gonna lie to you, about 50 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't thankfully had as many bad gigs, obviously, in the past few years.
Yeah.
I've sort of treated it more professionally, and I'm getting better pay, and it's making me feel obviously more like a comedian. And
Yeah.
I treat my day-to-day life like I'm a stand-up comedian, whereas in the past it was just like, I'll just write these jokes and I'll go to this gig and I'll just see what happens. Whereas now there is that kind of serious element to it, especially having children and people
Yeah.
depend on you bringing money home. But what was your question again?
The question. That's a really good.
You don't even
I'm,
know.
I'm obviously a very good interviewer if I can't even remember the question.
It was about stand-up,
Um.
wasn't it? It was about live gigs.
Oh yeah, it was about bad gigs. It was.
Oh, bad gigs.
Have
Yeah,
you ever?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
about
yeah.
throw. Have you ever threw in the towel, or have you ever been tempted to throw in the towel? That's what it was.
Yeah, loads and loads and loads of times. I feel like good gigs last with me for about an hour after I get home, and bad gigs stay with me for about 3 or 4 days. And
Yeah.
same with yourself, is it?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like any bad gigs,
Yeah,
I will. Like thankfully, 10 months ago, I ended on a good gig.
that's good. That's what you want. Yeah, that's something to go into a pandemic with, where you can be like, I'm a good comedian. But
Yeah, I
then,
ended.
but as soon as I have a bad gig, I doubt everything I've ever did. I'm like, my jokes are shite. I can't deliver them. I don't know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for so long now. Why am I still doing this? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, but there's that added pressure, I think, because I have children and because they're now like teenagers. 2 out of 3 of them are teenagers. I'm telling them every single day to go chase your dream, go do what you enjoy, go do what you love, go
Yeah.
exploring and all this here. So if I go back on my word, or if I don't do that, or if I quit, then that kind of sets a bad example to them in the future. So I'm almost feel
Yeah.
like this is me now. I'm stuck doing this until I am either super successful or I die. So
Yeah. But you've done very
yeah,
well. Like you and Diona both, I think, have been so prolific over these last few years of just being able
it's
to either get involved with, as in like getting roles, or just creating stuff. I think these have both been fantastic.
well, thank you. It's just getting your head down and just getting stuck in. And obviously there's with doing social media and stuff too, and creating content on social media, you're never going to please everybody. And
Yeah.
with my new character as well, I think, because like for years I was doing the Rodney character and it was super clean cut. And
Oh yeah.
I was like, I've written a children's joke book and did a tour of kids' primary schools and things like that. And a lot of my stuff with the Rodney character kind of went down the path of catering for kids' parties and things like that. So with the Daki character, and when I thought of that idea, I was really shitting myself putting out the first video, because this is not my audience. This is not how people know me.
Yeah.
But this was me being true to myself, and I'm like, right, I've had to do that shit for years in a fucking tracksuit. It's my turn. Sit down, shut the fuck up. I'm going to swear a few times. If you don't like it, just go watch somebody else. And this is what I'm going to do. And thankfully, from the first video, it just went down really well, and it went on
So
from
you're
there.
saying
So
that?
it's
So you're
great.
saying that Decky isn't going to do it to our primary schools?
Secondary schools for Decky, I think that's the way forward for him. It'll be behind the PE hall, straight after school. Tell four of your mates, and just don't film anything for Snapchat.
Fantastic. That's great. Okay, so we've kind of touched on the slightly more serious side of the podcast. So we'll move on to what I like to think of as the fun part. So did you think of your 3 things that drive you insane?
Yes.
So what, Sean Hegarty, is your first one?
My first one, right, which fucks me off massively, is when someone muddles up halfway through a sentence and they go all this shit. I just want to fucking punch them in the eyes. I despise that. I hate that.
I don't know how I'm going to write that down. Normally I write them down. How do you spell that?
Just loads of B's, loads of L's, loads of M's, and just throw them together in whatever order you want, and then just write dickheads at the end of it.
Got it. Yeah, it's one of the. I totally agree with you. I think bringing back to comedy as well. I've kind of learned to embrace the silence on stage. So if I'm maybe struggling to think of the next joke, I don't mind pausing for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Instead of, as you say, like whenever I first started out, I would have flew through my jokes.
Yeah.
Like I've been booked for a 5 to 7. I'm maybe doing 30 jokes, but it's taken me 2.5 minutes to do them.
Yeah.
Because you're just like blah, 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 and you're not even. Remember, it was actually Neve Marin.
Yeah.
She actually, I came off stage one night and had a really good gig in Pugs one night, and she said there was people still laughing at your joke, and you moved on to the next one. Just let them laugh.
Yeah.
And it was such great advice.
That's brilliant. Yeah. And did you take it on board?
Oh yeah, 100%. I've taken it on board to the stage actually where I was doing a gig one night, and there was only one guy laughing, like killing himself laughing at the back of the room, a room maybe of 20 people, and I waited until he finished laughing.
That's right.
Until I moved on.
Yeah. A lot of comedians might think you're milking it, but with our stand-up too, every word does count. So if you start the next one and people are still laughing, the people who are laughing aren't prepared for your next joke.
Exactly, and that's what was happening.
Yeah. Have you prepared 3 of these as well, or are these all just
mine? No, it's just you, and then I pick one, and then I put it in the bin.
Okay. Very lazy, but that's okay. That's your podcast. It's up to you. That's fine.
I've been working all day, as you can see.
That's right.
But no, you pick 3. So we'll go back to that one though. So it's literally when people are struggling to think of what to say and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, just when they muddle up their words and they say something that was not in their brain or their train of thought of what is going to come out, so they just go into some fucking improvisational drama shit, and it just drives me insane. I hate it. I really do.
That's great. I like that. I like that you hate that. That's what I like about that.
Yeah, I hate it a lot.
Okay, well we'll leave that one. What's the next one? What's number 2?
My next one is energy drinks and children being sold them and just everything around that. I see kids getting dropped off for school when I drop my kids off, and they're coming out of the shop with big tins that are bigger than the size of their heads, and you're like, what is going on? Why do you need an energy drink? Do you know what I mean? You're going in to sit in a classroom and concentrate. You're not doing a big gym session.
Yeah.
You're not doing a marathon, which if you did, you'd fucking probably have a heart attack.
Yeah.
But what are you doing? What do you think you need this glucose for? Do you know what I mean? What is going on? I hate it. And then if I can put into the same bracket people throwing rubbish down as well, because I see a lot of them just finishing their drinks or their sausage rolls and stuff, and they just fuck it on the ground, and I just I despise that as well. Like, so
No,
Put
that drives
those
me
two
crazy
together.
too. But
Yeah,
it looks ridiculous as well. Like seeing like a 12-year-old who's about 4 foot tall and a big can of Monster, and you're like,
yeah,
that cannot like. I don't think I could even drink a full one of those things.
yeah. I don't think I've ever tasted them, to be honest, but I seen some kind of like panorama or something a few years ago, and somebody said it was like 15 tablespoons of sugar in Lucozade and stuff. And
Hmm.
I know people who have had like heart attacks because they just live on them, and people like even bouncers and stuff too. You know, you hardly see a bouncer now without seeing a tin of Red Bull or a Monster or something
Yeah.
like that, and it's just kind of marketed towards those people, and you're like, just wake up. Do you know what I mean? Have a coffee or just
Yeah.
have a glass of water and don't sit on your phone before in the morning. You know, get a proper sleep.
Yeah, you don't need because as well like a cup of coffee. Obviously, you get your caffeine kick, but I imagine those things as well. There's probably about 5 cups of coffee worth
Oh, there has to be
in each one.
at least.
I was guilty when I was younger. Of I don't know if you were the same yourself, especially where you're from, drinking Buckfast.
Never tasted Buckfast in my life, and that's one of my proudest things that I will take to my grave if I ever get buried, which I probably won't. I'll get cremated, but even if somebody shouts out at my funeral kind of thing, he never drank Buckfast, and they'll be all right, Deborah, fucking you obviously have love. And he'd be like, but he said it one night, Johnny Bo's podcast for us to say it. I'm probably the only person from Lurgan to never have tried it. I'm
And
so proud
did
of
you
that.
not did you have you just not tried it because you've seen people drinking it and know what it does?
Yeah, exactly that. It turns normal people into fucking maniacs.
Oh
And
god,
I've
yeah.
seen it on many of occasions. So I've just been like, I'm steering well clear of that. Just fucking jungle juice, isn't it?
Yeah, see, I started drinking it when I was maybe about, I think maybe I had my first bottle when I was about 16. It's like something stupid, like, and yeah, my mom's definitely going to listen to this podcast and find out, but that's all right.
I'm going to text her after this anyway and tell her. So don't worry about that.
I'm thinking more worried about the fact that you got my mom's number. Like,
I've always had it, Johnny. Always had it.
I would rather you than any of the other ones.
That's good. That's good.
But yeah, so I started drinking it, and then as I got older, drank it a bit more. So sort of into I would say my late teens. That's kind of when I probably stopped drinking it. But I would drink it maybe like a Friday night, Saturday night, and then maybe getting up for work on Monday morning. I'm wondering why on a Sunday night that I'm trying to go off to sleep and I'm just buzzing because I've had probably the equivalent of about 19 cups of coffee.
Yeah, it's pure rocket fuel, isn't it?
It's ridiculous, like, but
Just
I
there's
didn't
no
need
need.
that. I didn't
Yeah,
need it. And as you say, kids who are like 12, 13, and even younger, probably some of them,
yeah,
having a can of Monster is just, it's not going to end well for them, and either now or in the future.
yeah,
Surely that stuff
100%.
runs through you as well.
It's bound to, like it really is bound to, which sort of goes against the reason why you would need it, you know, because obviously if you need the stuff, you intend on going through something that's really prolonged, and you know you're
Yeah.
going to need a lot of attention and focus, whereas you don't want to go shitting yourself 4 times in a row when you're trying to maybe stay awake for this 18-hour shift or whatever it is you're about to do. Maybe fucking drive a lorry for 3 days in a row. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like if I have 2 cups of coffee back to back, I start to feel a wee bit queasy. Like,
Oh, big time, yeah. Fucking 3 dumps in a row after 2 cups of coffee, like brutal.
when you say 3 dumps in a row, is that like just
Just
like back and forth, or like?
you fully wipe clean, then you get up and wash your hands, and you don't even bother pulling your trousers up because you know you're about to sit back down and get your phone back out. So
Uh, you're just
that's what I do.
you're just ready to start the next podcast. Yeah,
Pretty much, yeah.
that's how I can't believe I'm telling this on the podcast, but yeah, it's probably the more cups of coffee I drink, the more I'm up to date with my podcasts.
Yeah. Is that what you do then when you're on the throne? Do you just listen to podcasts?
Oh yeah, I think it's the time when I've got them. I'm not someone who ever remembers to bring earphones with me,
Right,
like
right.
anywhere. So
Do you not worry that like someone's going to walk past the bathroom and be like, "There's like a really tiny meeting going on in there between like two or three fellas. What the fuck's
I mean,
going
I
on?"
don't normally do it in work. Like I'm not sitting at work for like every few hours. I'm just going in and catching up on.
He's like, "Why is Johnny pissing himself laughing here in the disabled bogs? He's been in there for 45 minutes. Fucking, I've heard the tap going 3 times. What's he playing at?"
Why is he in there with all the local comedians? Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Great stuff. Okay, well, okay, then we've got blah blah blah, and we've got
Yeah.
energy drinks. What's number three?
Number three is people who post on Twitter that it is their birthday.
Right. Okay.
I want to set fire to them straight away, or even the next day. I'm like, oh, I'll give you your birthday, but the next day I am setting fire to your bed with you in it. I fucking hate it. And people do it in kind of roundabout ways. They don't just go, it's my birthday. I wouldn't mind the attention. You know, I get the attention on Facebook because they actually say
Yeah.
today is my birthday. But on Twitter, there's no way of knowing unless you physically happen to click on that profile on that exact day and there's a few balloons and stuff come up.
Right. Okay.
You know, but on Twitter, there's no way anyone's going to know it's your birthday unless someone tweets you who, again, is some psychopath who has seen Facebook and is like, do you know what? 87 people have messaged him already on his wall today, and it's his birthday. I need attention as well here, so I'm going to message him on Twitter. So they tweet you saying it's your birthday, and then you retweet it, and then everybody's like all day, oh, happy birthday, and then you retweet it throughout the day so that it builds momentum, and people message you all day, and you're just reading them from just people going happy birthday or HB and an exclamation mark and a birthday cake emoji. And I'm
It's
just like,
it's
fuck
it's
off.
it is that no, that is very annoying, and I'm one of those people as well. Like when people send me a happy birthday on Facebook, I like to respond rather than just liking it or giving it a wee heart. That's why I
Well,
don't know.
yeah, I think though, what was I going to say? I was going to say something there that had a really fucking, it really would have made sense, but I've completely forgotten my
I'm
train of
sure it was.
thought.
I'm sure it was really. It would have been profound if I know you.
Oh, massively, massively. It'll come to me. If we'll just sit in silence here until I can think of it, right?
Sure.
Which is the best thing to do during a podcast, right?
Yeah.
So
Got it.
I'll try and be as quick as I can, but
Okay.
also know that added pressure of silence makes me think of other things first, like, you know, we squirrels run about, and here we go. I'm going to think of it. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you not think, right? Do you not think that even the words happy birthday should only be greeted with the word okay? Do you know what I mean? Like if somebody says happy birthday, you go okay, because like have a happy birthday. That's like okay, that makes sense. Do you know, have a happy birthday. I'll try my best. No guarantees, but
Yeah.
I'll try to have a good day. But someone just going happy birthday is like going warm weather. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's well, how are you? Are we putting happy birthday in? Just the phrase happy birthday? Is that what we're changing it to? Or are we sticking with
When if we do a second episode down the line, you know, due to the success of this one,
of
obviously
course, yes, of
it'll
course.
go viral 4 times over. But
Yeah.
the next time we record, remind me and I'll put happy birthday in, right?
I'll remind you on your birthday.
1st of December, tweet me so I can retweet it, right?
I will.
Happy birthday.
I'll do exactly that.
But even
But
seeing people like disguising it as well as like just done my birthday workout. Now it's time for pina coladas in the sun, and you're like, fucking go
yeah.
drown in a pina colada. Who stop it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's people who as well, like it's becoming a thing now too, where I've noticed in some of my friends, I think, whether they listen to it or not, but they're definitely guilty of it. But people who really milk their birthdays these days, where it's not even a birthday, it's like a birth week.
Yeah, yeah, I hate that.
And that's it's too much. It's like, yeah,
No,
maybe your birthday's on a Thursday and no one can go out on a Thursday, so we're going on a Saturday, but
yeah,
it's not your birthday.
it's the birthday weekend. And you're like, fucking stop it. It's the anniversary of your birth. It's not even your birthday. It's your birth date from whatever amount of years ago. Your ma
Yeah,
should
you
be
only
getting a
get
pat on the back. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, you only get one birthday, like
Yeah, it's I don't know. I hate it all. And do you know what? Do you know who you can also put in that? And this is really morbid, right?
right.
People who tweet going, "My mum died in my arms 20 minutes ago," and you're like, and the first thing you thought of fucking doing was coming on Twitter and telling everyone, and then it's everyone going, sincere condolences, Judith. Just hope you're feeling better, love. She's up there with George Best now.
Yeah.
Don't you worry. Sure, your Uncle Sandy's up there. He's waiting on her. And you're like, fucking go and tell the rest of your immediate family. Do you know what I mean? And then, even then, go arrange the funeral. And then, even then, go and mourn for a couple of months. And then maybe come on and go, guys. I know no one gives a fuck that I haven't tweeted in 4 months, but we've just buried my ma in fucking February there, and it took me a few months to come around. But
I thought
people
you were
are
gonna.
just
I thought you were gonna say it
pleased.
took 4 months to bury your man.
To fucking dig myself, just one shovel a day. But
Just a picture with a spade.
yeah, so to pretty much just put all them people in the bin, please.
Just all those people, and then as well, just to add to that, it's maybe this is one of mine. Maybe I'm gonna start adding stuff in here. It's those people. It's the subtle ones. It's like I just checked into the Royal again.
Yeah, they can go fucking die as well.
It's like,
Yeah.
why?
Oh, hon, what happened to you? I'll DM you, hon. You're like, fucking stop it.
It's like you sprained your finger, like.
Aye, your wee lad needed a plaster. Fucking stop it.
Yeah. I hate all that.
Hate them dicks.
I'm starting to really lose interest in Facebook. Like it's almost like a necessary evil when it comes to like any sort of online stuff. You know yourself, if you're trying to plug gigs or you're trying to generate a following, like Facebook, you have to be on it, you have to be doing it. But I absolutely despise it these days.
Yeah, Facebook's where most of my following is, and it's I kind of put stuff up, like on Instagram or something, and it gets like 400 views or something.
Yeah,
and I feel almost like mentioning underneath, going, this got like 400 times that on Facebook. Do you know what I mean? Don't think that I'm still starting out or I don't have an audience. It's just not on Instagram.
Just don't judge my success on this.
Yeah,
you need to put that at the bottom in brackets.
I know. Disclaimer before every video. This will probably do a lot better on Facebook than anywhere else. That's
the next mug you need to get. Sean Hegarty, comedian, better on Facebook.
Yeah, that's it. Better on Facebook. Don't tweet to tell anyone your ma's died.
Sorry, it took 4 months to bury you. Brilliant. Okay, that's your 3 things. So we've got energy drinks, kids drinking them, and we also have basically a variety of people, but mostly people who say happy birthday to me on Twitter purely for the attention.
Yeah,
that's quite a frustrating one. I think I'm going to. Do I put the kids in the bin or do I put the energy drinks in the bin?
Put them both in the bin. Fuck them all.
Just get rid of them both.
I hate kids. See if they're not related to me. I fucking hate kids. See if someone goes to show me a photo of their kid or goes, "Here, my child started walking last week." I'm like, that's all right. I've been walking 36 years. Just don't bother me with that shit. I hate children. See if it's crying, just go away. Just don't go and soothe it in the corner somewhere on your own.
I know. There was one of my at work like a couple of years ago. I don't mind kids, but again, I don't know how to talk to them. I think that's my problem. Like there was one in my work, and the child was eating the biscuit, but the biscuit was basically more on the face than actually the child was eating it. And I was trying to sort of make conversation because it was one of those sort of awkward ones where you feel like you have to, and it just felt like I was talking to a digestive.
Just cluttered.
Yeah, it was like you don't even look like a child anymore. You just look like a biscuit.
Yeah,
because it was more child than biscuit.
You want to learn how to eat a biscuit and then bring your child into work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then I'll maybe have a conversation with it.
Yeah. So now all you're thinking of from now on is like, there's Joanne, her fucking son can't even eat a biscuit.
Pretty much, yeah. Just trying to stick the biscuit in his eye, like. It was awful. It was awful.
Right. So you have to save her number in your phone. Then you have to go in and just change it to Joanne. Do you know, child has shitty biscuit mouth.
Biscuit mouth child, yeah. Brilliant. So yes, we will put kids with energy drinks in the bin forever, and you will never have to see them again.
I'm happy with that.
Or just for the remainder of the podcast, because this is all just none of it's real.
Exactly. My kids finish school at the end of this week, and I says they don't have to go in the rest of the days, so that'll hopefully be me not seeing that again until September.
Fingers crossed.
September 1st. Yeah.
Okay, so just to wrap it up, for the future, what have you any plans for the future? And do you have anything? I know you've achieved a lot, but do you have anything left to achieve, do you think?
No.
You're done.
I'm only joking. Fuck.
Imagine.
Do you know what? I sometimes I write my CV, or like I have to copy it and send it off to somewhere for the like a comedy poster or for a bio for something, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh geez, I've actually done all right. You know, I'm like from somebody who started just doing a wee open mic one night,
Yeah.
not knowing what was going to happen and just wanting to get the words out without dying of a panic attack. I feel like I've done very well, but at the same time, I would love to sort of just be happy with what I'm doing, or be happy in the moment and be proud of what I've achieved, because every time I achieve something, I'm like, right, forget about that. What are you going to achieve next? And then I sort of pull myself down all the time. Do you know what I mean? Being like, you're not
Yeah.
achieving anything, or what, you know, your videos did this a few years ago. Now they're doing this.
Yeah.
Why are they not up there? Do you know? And it's like, you're just constantly in a battle with yourself. So I think
Yeah.
my long term goal is to just find peace somewhere in the middle and just be like,
Yeah.
just be happy with what you've done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it is. I
Yeah.
think it is difficult whenever you're in that sort of like, especially in the creative industry. Like it's so. It's difficult because there's no real like finish point.
Hmm,
Like
exactly.
you're constantly doing, you're constantly creating, and while yes, that's great what it's happening, but it is almost like it is a constant it's a constant battle, I suppose, as well, just to keep that consistency. And I think you are, and there's not that many, but I think you're one of them who has consistently been great for years. And it's one of the reasons why I think a lot of people stop is because they maybe do it for a year, don't get anywhere, and then just stop.
Yeah, but again, going back, thanks very much for what you said. By the way,
No
it's very
worries.
kind of you. But I feel like, yeah, just things take over your life. Do you know what I mean? People get into it and they maybe have a few bad gigs and they just throw the towel in. And
Yeah.
I think it's just as we've said, it's just consistency. You just keep going. Just do another couple of gigs. Just keep
Yeah.
working on your stuff. Do you know what I mean? Change things. Listen to people. Listen to their opinions. Just work on just being funny, and everything else will fall into place.
Yeah.
But it is hard. Like loads and loads and loads of times, I've been seconds away from posting online that I'm about to retire,
Yeah.
and in the end, I just go, "It's my birthday." Just
That's it. Give
just
me all
lie
the
back.
attention. That's a
So
great
that's what I
that's
do. So if you ever see me just posting going, "It's my birthday today," it's because I'm about to quit stand up and I just need a wee bit of attention.
yeah. I will retweet it. I will retweet it on Facebook for you.
Thank you. But wait a couple of hours, you know, let the
Yeah,
momentum
yeah.
sort of die down a bit, and then retweet it, and then hopefully another few people message me.